Hey, all you Midnighters and Moonlighters, this is your closer-in-chief with another check-in. I want to start tonight with a big thank you. To all our early supporters, thank you for your support, your patience, and the eagerness you built with us during our early planning phases. Thank you for the excitement during launch week and your feedback on our test episode, which has now been remastered and re-released sounding better than ever. And thank you to our haters, the naysayers, the ones who scoffed at the idea of us getting Nightwatch off the ground. We appreciate that extra drop of spite in the fuel tank to help push through the all-nighters it took to make this happen. Now, for those of you asking, Chief, why does this episode sound a little rough compared to the last couple? Well, first, I'm not actually in the room with you right now, so technically, I'm not obligated to answer questions from the void. Second, that sounds like the perfect kind of question for the comment section below. Well, since this one already breached fourth wall containment, management has given me permission to address this one. We've been having a lot of fun making this show, and learning as we go. This episode didn't quite hit the same production standard, but the content is solid. So, I trimmed the fat, kept the premium cut, and made sure it only assaults your eardrums for exactly as long as it needs to. Then, we're right back to that sweet, sweet fidelity for the rest of the arc. With that out of the way, let's roll into the first episode of our 3-part apocalyptic lineup this week. Bug me out before you go-go. And hey, if you've ever been dehydrated enough to seriously consider drinking that hot, half-empty water bottle rolling around under your car seat for about 2 weeks, hit those like and subscribe buttons. This one's for you. I've watched a couple of movies last night. A lot of it was more technically by genre, like dystopian future setting stuff. But How It Ends is a great example of very early leading up to whatever the cataclysmic event is. And just, to me, apocalyptic is a mindset. It's not just a genre, right? It doesn't have to all be desert punk, everybody's running around in leather Daisy Dukes and cars with roll cages. It's the panic that sets in for people. It's the how do they react, how do they where are you when it happens. You know, big cities, you tend to get a lot of that panic herd mentality behavior, flock mentality, where everyone just starts scurrying like rats and trying to get out of a sinking ship. You get your blocked up tunnels and your highways crammed up and planes falling out of the sky because everyone's trying to hop into a plane as the ash cloud shows up.
That's probably the worst place you can be, is a heavily populated area, is what I'd like to think.
So where do you guys think we are at in the timeline before the apocalypse?
Now that's an interesting thing. For me, I guess the best way you can say is a slippery slope. I mean, how much more have we compromised ourselves in order to lose what society is? What laws are we letting slide in order to keep going? How bad is assault? Before the big fall. What is really robbery opposed to survival? If I'm taking all this water because I know that the water's about to be shut off, or I fear that the water's going to be shut off, or I don't want to go outside because other people are out there and they're trying to get water and they'll do whatever they got to do to get water. I don't want to deal with that. So I'm taking the water now.
Grabbing up all the toilet paper off the
shelves. Putting gasoline in garbage bags. I've seen that.
The whole pandemic happened. Everybody was taking warehouses full of toilet paper, and then people were getting arrested because they were taking whole warehouses full of toilet paper.
I think I saw a video of a guy drive up with a pickup truck, punch an employee in the face, and grab an entire pallet
Yeah.
of toilet paper that was getting unloaded off of a truck and just threw it in the back of his truck and took off with it. Like, it was bad.
Wiping your ass became the utmost of necessity.
Survival.
Yeah. I mean, there's that one lady who bought like a whole a container, a big giant warehouse container full of sanitizer, lotion, and was selling them at $8 a bottle. Where does it? Slippery slope. I mean,
yeah, the pandemic was a great example of how people start reacting pre-collapse, pre-disaster. We have a very recent example of what we're talking about here. Pre-collapse, build-up stuff. What's a good movie or show reference for something like that? Leading up to.
There's one good one. It was called Outbreak, which happened to be another one about a virus that some monkey was running around biting people, and everyone was getting sick and bleeding out, and everybody was freaking out and shooting all kinds of animals because they didn't want, and it was just started from one monkey that escaped some freaking quarantine facility, and this one little girl had adopted this little monkey in the monkey. And everybody was like, "Oh shit, the monkey!" And then people were getting sick and dying in variously horrific, fashions. I thought that was just as incredibly dumb as that sounds. And it always starts with somebody messing around in a lab with a monkey, and then and then shit gets real.
Sometimes it's for the best intentions too. You're trying to figure out something, and then
how do we fix superfluous?
Yeah, I mean, most movie tropes, they want to say like a mad scientist in there, like I'm gonna.
They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah,
this is the end.
This is the end.
So that's a great one for an example of everybody knows the end of the world's coming. Civilization just kind of goes crazy. It's like, all right, we're gonna party it out for the rest of the day, or panic, or whatever is gonna happen. And then another good example. Don't Look Up.
That is a really good one.
Yeah, because that one, I like how it encapsulates the mindset and mentality that some people have. Like, no, this is crazy. We're not getting to the end of the days. The world's been going since I've been alive. It's going to keep on going. It's like, nah, if you're going to be in denial like that, it's.
And it really didn't pop off until the great plan that they had set up did not work. And then like the people who were like the super elites were like, "Oh, it'll work. It's just give it another try." And they just kind of stand up and walk out of the room. And it was so subtle. Actually, it wasn't even subtle. It was just on the nose that it was so incredible that these guys who came up with this plan just get up and abandon the plan. And everyone is like, "Hey, they're coming back, right?" They just keep walking. They don't listen to anybody. They just walk past everybody with these stunned looks on their faces. And that's when everyone figured out, "Oh, crap. They're not coming back." And then that's when everybody starts losing, blowing up stuff, shooting that dude that pushed them off the bench in high school. The girl that rejected the dude who was like fat and in love with her, and she used him for cookies. The guy who got arrested by the cop and he knew he was innocent, he goes track that cop down. It just, everyone just loses their minds at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else. I am not going to prison for this. So guess what? This is justice. Before all this goes down, I'm going to get you, buddy.
I mean, on the post-apocalyptic spectrum, that's War of the Worlds. They did like a little skit on early radio where they played a couple clips from the movie and they acted it out like it was happening. And I mean, I think 100, maybe 50 people actually themselves. Whole families just jumped off roofs because they honestly thought this was really happening on the air. There was no maliciousness in it, what I mean? And yeah,
it's just if you miss the beginning part where they only said it the one time, like, "Hey, this is dramatic fiction," and you just tune in the radio and all of a sudden, oh yeah, fucking alien tripods are hitting the major city centers and lasering people and
just that
ash
mass
and closing
hysteria, you know what I mean? It grips people.
Yeah. DC is on fire. All the humanity. I mean,
the president and the cabinets are dead.
People are like, what? I mean, when you have only one outlet for any kind of, information in the radio, and back then they must have had really good imaginations because that's all you had. You didn't have TV. Everybody had that weekly get together at the radio, at the fireplace, and everybody listened to the programs that were happening. So you're right. If you didn't get that first 5 minutes of like, hey, dude, this is not real. This is just a drama. We're doing a setting here. And then you start saying, hey, there's these meteorites hitting the freaking floor, and all of a sudden these things are crawling out. Oh my God, they're shooting people.
Mass hysteria, the mass panics, and how people react. We had the nuclear broadcast, we've had the pandemic, actual disaster events, 9/11.
Yeah, the footage from 9/11, to watch it. I mean, they got it now where you can see all the footage from the different hits from the planes and stuff. The one that really gets me the most is when they show the only one where they show the overhead of the plane flying through the skyline to hit the tower. And you can see the plane curving in, and then it flies right over the guy with the camera. And you lose sight of it behind one building, and then you see the fireball from the explosion. And then everybody's screaming and hollering because, everybody's windows is blowing out and all that good stuff. Later on, when the building collapses and falls, there's all that dust. And that's more scary actually than the actual plane crashing, because most people didn't see the plane crashing. But everybody saw the building fall. And then all that dust that comes out from that. It's not a controlled fall, so they say it isn't. And it falls out. And then everybody's running from the smoke, the smoke blast. And the blast is chasing you. And then it overtakes you. And that is the most horrific thing that I saw when I was watching. I'm like, wow, to be there in the middle of that. Because I don't know if either one of you have ever been in a place where there's like overwhelming disruption of your airflow, like with smoke or CS gas or anything like that.
I mean, gas chamber, yeah.
Yeah, but the ability not to breathe is absolutely terrifying. You have to be trained not to respond viscerally from that.
Yeah, that's immediate panic response.
You panic. And some people panic to the point where they lose all sense of left and right. Left, right, up and down. They're just I want this to stop. And your first instinct is to run away.
It's like when they train you to rescue drowning people, because people that are drowning, they're lashing out.
They'll fight you.
They're trying to stay above water, so they'll push you down, and they're literally using you as a flotation device. And that's why when they teach us, like, rescue, if you're going to rescue your partner, you got to come to him and you got to get his attention. Hey, stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. And if they don't stop, whack out, hey, you listening now?
No attention getter.
No, whack out. best awareness and motive is the pain. Oh, whoa, somebody is hitting me. Oh yeah, I'm listening now. Roll over, let me grab you and pull you to safety.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, have you guys ever been in that kind of fighting for your life kind of scenario?
Unfortunately. Well before when I was in the service. The life and death struggle, yeah. I mean, I got shot when I was 15. So, it really starts, and believe me, it popped off incredibly fast. Playing basketball, everybody's I wouldn't say having fun, but we were like, playing the game. Somebody gets fouled, like, egregiously. I mean, they get smacked, like, oh, okay, he meant to do that. Okay, well, that's cool. And then, like, that guy who hit you earlier is going up for a layup, and you take that opportunity, smack you, and that was a little harder. Okay, that was great. A little revenge play, and then, well, he didn't like that, so now they square off and they start fighting. One guy loses out on that fight. He pulls out a knife. Okay. He pulls out his knife, you pull out your knife. Next thing you know, everybody's got a knife out, and those who don't have knives have guns. And if you're that poor little kid who wasn't a part of no gang and doesn't have a knife and doesn't have a gun, well, you're just standing there like a freaking idiot. People start shooting, on a basketball court, there's really no duck and cover. It's like, get off the court. And next thing you know,
zigzag, serpentine.
Yeah, do a zigzag motion. But when you're 15, you don't think that nonsense, But you do, for some reason, lock eyes with somebody who you weren't particularly in good terms with, They see you, you see him, he's got a gun, and you know that he's going to shoot. So you start to run, and then you feel like someone hits you in the leg, like really hard, like a big fist just hits you in the leg, and you go down. And it's not like in the movies where you just get up and start running. Nah. Your leg starts vibrating like it's on fire. And then you just know that you have to get up, and you try to make your leg work. When it doesn't work, it's just kind of stuck out there and stiff, and you just kind of look like you got one leg longer than the other.
Hobble on out.
Yeah, you get out of there, And then of course there's 2 months of hiding that from your parents and your and everyone else.
Hey, you can't snitch. Can't go to the hospital.
You can't snitch because everybody know that who told that someone got shot. Then you have to go to some third-year med student who flunked out because he's hooked on drugs. He pulls the pieces out. He kind of confidently tells you that he thinks he's got all the pieces after you're being held down by your friends.
You don't go to the hospital after that. You go to Doc Murdoch down the road. You know what I mean?
You go to freaking.
He's a wild drunk. He got fired because of that, but he still knows his practice.
Yeah, you go to Leander, who basically was a really good medical student until he was taking too much. I think it might have been Adderall.
Morphine or
He was taking something to stay awake, and he got kicked out. I mean, believe it or not, he's a doctor today. I mean, he went back to school. That's pre-apocalyptic to me because it's funny. Everybody is like running around and everyone is shooting or stabbing each other, and it's the worst thing because you got everybody actively trying to harm each other, and other than really superficial wounds and scrapes and cuts and stuff, no one dies because everybody's a bad shot or they don't know how to fight. They're just swinging erratically because they don't want to die either. Everybody is so afraid. The memory of it is so like flash burned onto my memory. I mean, I'll never forget that day. And it's funny, is even after it all happened, many of the people who were fighting, they didn't, for the most part, there was no animosity after. People who were just trying to cut each other up and were shooting at each other could actually walk down the street opposite ends and not try to hurt each other anymore. It was only that flash fire that happened, that everyone's base emotions came out. Neighborhoods back then. We're much more civilized now, right?
What about you, Jolly? What's your story?
Very boring life. I've never had anything really that I felt like at that time was post-apocalyptic.
Well, but what about just something that caused panic, something that you thought you were fighting for your life for, or had to...
Really nothing. I mean, you have an anxiety attack and you feel like the world's ending, but nothing really. I mean, I've never been into a crazy situation or been around a crazy situation that has something, you know what I mean? I've never had anything like that happen, really, truthfully, which is boring, but...
No, just full loss of control and...
No.
All right, fair enough. It's not a bad thing, by all means.
No, I was going to say, it's not a bad thing, just not very, a very good talking point.
Privilege.
I will, a little cough. Privilege. I will say that looking at 9/11, I remember my mom out there. I woke up and she was crying. And I remember seeing a couple of clips of it and whatnot. And for someone looking at it, you're saying, oh, this is the lead up to the end of the world. You were saying the people coming out of the dust when that dust hit, and it was scary. You know what I mean? It looked like a wall. It wasn't a little bit of smoke, a little cigarette smoke coming. It was a wall of just looked like, for them, it was ending right at that point. You know what I mean? They had no correlation. It just was, they come out of the dust disoriented and everything else. And for them at the time, I'm sure that in their head, it was ending. You know what I mean? Right then and there. But it's a little different for a viewer looking at it. It was the lead up to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can say for me, I know I was still a kid. You were still a kid whenever that happened.
Yep.
So what I remember the most, that visceral reaction for me, right, was not the event itself. Because for me, I was in third grade, something like that. It didn't even really register what had happened. It was just...
How old is that, third grade?
Well, 2001 from 92. So I was, 9 years old? The thing that got to me was that it was the first time I saw my parents scared like this, and it wasn't just my parents; it was all adults, right? So this was that first time in my life of seeing there's something so big going on that the guys that are supposed to be helping me when I'm scared are scared, And so that's what hit me. I mean, I still remember. My mom tells the story better, but like I was going around saying shit like, "Oh, I'm gonna." She's like trying to get my mind off and everything because I'm, breaking down, and she's like, go make some food, go make some ramen or something. I'm like, all right, I'll go make some ramen for the last time. The world's ending. Oh my God. Dumb shit like that. But like we got that double hit scare because like my mom saw the news, pulled me out of school early. My dad, he was out on a job site out in Pennsylvania. He saw Flight 93 when it turned around. He saw the moment it got taken over and flipped and turned and started going the wrong direction, because we were out by the airport out that way. So yeah, it was, and he didn't know what had happened until after he got off work. We're talking about early 2000s. He's out on the job site. They might have heard something on the radio at the time, but like he finished up his day at work, came home, was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah,
and
what the hell's going on?
Yeah, yeah. It was that feeling like, World War III is about to kick off. America just got attacked. What else is going to happen? Bombs are going to start flying now. And then, of course, everything settled down and de-escalated fairly quickly, at least back home side, States.
Oh, yeah.
I think it took them a couple days, also, the Taliban, to let out the video. So, I mean, I'm not too sure, but...
Was it the Taliban or Al-Qaeda?
Oh, Al-Qaeda.
It was Al-Qaeda.
Yes.
Well, the thing about that was, it's like, funny thing, I mean, I remember what I was doing when that happened. I mean, I was watching the Howard Stern show. I was just sitting there laughing at his stupid jokes. And then one of the only times I've ever heard fear in Howard Stern, he's like, because he could actually see the towers from where his studio was.
No shit.
And he's like, "Hey, what the hell is that? What's going?" I mean, he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And he's like, "Is that what I think it is?" And he's talking about, "Hey, they're saying that the towers is on fire." And then he just, I mean, no act. He's like, "Hey, I think we're under attack." He was like freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody, and I was like, "Oh crap." So then I turned on the television, sure enough, they got helicopters flying around. The second plane hit. Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Oh," it was just the most shocking thing. Like, wait a minute, this a joke? Is this what's going on? Oh man. I'm just sitting there in my underwear watching the Howard Stone show, like my day off. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like,
in the first one, you can almost think maybe an aviation accident. There's always something that happens, you know what I mean? But then the second one, there was no doubt that something's going on. And like I said, they didn't let out the video saying, "Oh, we took responsibility for this." So we didn't know who it was. It could have been anything.
yeah, and Bush was at some like children's school or something like that, doing like
stories.
story time or whatever.
Yep.
The memes.
And then the secret agent comes down and bends next to him, and I got to give it to him. He took that information like a G. He was like,
And just kept
Right
and
back
kept
to-
on going. I'm like,
Right back to
oh
it.
shit, this dude is.
the amount of conviction and willpower to just keep that face, especially in front of the kids,
Yeah.
it's like,
I was about to say, yeah, there's a lot of
memes.
memes about it and a lot of things made fun of, but I will say that is, I mean, you don't want to scare the kids, you know what I mean? Just act normal, finish off the conversation, I mean, there's really nothing you can do, and, it's said and done, so just finish this up 2 minute, and then get back to work,
And then when they finished up, he, stood up real slow, real calmly, and walked out. He didn't like, we gotta go.
Yeah.
He was like, he just
Yeah.
kind of walked. I was like, yeah, that's what it is to be the president. Because I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have done that.
Yeah, but then, he casually strolled out of the room, and then he
Lost his shit.
And you walk into that control room and say, all right, I'm going to send every bomber, every plane,
Yeah.
every battalion that we got on the ready right now.
He
Get them the
starts-
fuck over there.
Yeah, he starts barking at people. Bark, 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 bark. I want to know. Bark, bark. Who did this? Bark, bark, bark. Let's go. And I want to know what bark, bark.
Why are you still standing there?
Am I speaking English? Meow. He just, I'm
Give me the Pentagon right now.
Yeah.
All right, so what about pandemic life? What did that look like for you, Jolly?
At the time, I didn't have a job, so I mainly stayed in the house. Went a little bit. I tried to keep myself out of the way. But yeah, that's just staying out of the way. You know what I mean? It was scary. And they say people that are a little bit bigger, that's already fat pressing on your lungs
More
and
risk.
stuff. Yeah, more risk and whatnot. And I just stayed out of the way. Tried my best not to wear a mask. Sanitize my hands every time I touch something. Had some in the car.
Yeah, I only wore a mask because they told me I had to wear a mask. I didn't want to wear that fucking mask.
Yeah, neither did I.
I didn't.
I've been sick before. I'll be sick again.
Yeah, it's like I have all the precursors. I'm obese.
Yeah.
I'm black. I have history. We have most blacks have histories of hypertension, arterial diseases,
Oh, okay.
High blood pressure.
heart disease. That's prevalent in a lot of blacks. So, and I was just in the sweet spot as far as age wise. Anything above 50, yeah, I was hitting All of those. I don't care. I've been divorced. I don't care. That's real. That's real pain, people.
I'll say I was considered essential in every job that I had throughout that entire pandemic period. Selling pretzels at the mall and slinging pizzas and everything.
Yeah.
So I was definitely front and center in those high traffic areas, customer facing, and watching all of those people deal with the pandemic, of how they either just straight up blatantly ignored it. They were assholes about it. It was, I remember I'd be standing at the cash register trying to sell somebody some pretzels, right? And they would come up to the window and they're trying to yell at me through this plexiglass sheet that's up here.
I remember those. Yeah.
And they're pointing and shoving at everything else, and I'm trying to calmly talk to them and everything, and they're like, I can't breathe through this thing and talk to this thing. Give me that pretzel, and they try to pull the shield out of the way and talk around that and everything else, and always trying to hand me stuff. I would always very politely be like, hey, just go ahead and put the money there on the table. I'll grab it off you. Just to kind of, I wasn't worried, but
to reduce the risk.
It was one of those things of, it was a way to maintain discipline, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, put the money on the desk there. I'll grab it up and then I'll put the change back. And they'd always be holding their hand out, trying to hand me the money.
Yeah.
And it's listen, man,
prove to you that they're not afraid.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to touch money in the first place. That shit is disgustingly filthy. We handle cash all day, every day. And I'm washing my hands.
Swimming
all
in it, and
then you get on the opposite end of that spectrum, you get the person. It's usually some sweet old lady who's got two freaking Nightwatch gloves on, and then she hands over her debit card, and you touch it and scan it and give it back to her, and then she's already got the sanitizer lotion, and then she's wiping down the card. Okay, you don't trust that, I'm good with your debit card, but lady, we've been touching your food all day.
You're about to put this in.
Yeah, you're about to put this in your mouth. We've been playing hacky sack with your food.
You didn't see her eat it. She might have went home and
probably put some sanitation. She probably did.
I'm shocked there wasn't some homeopathic mint spray that you could spray on the food that would sanitize your food. Hey, future pandemic business model, right there.
I remember visiting my kids in their hometown, trying to be a good dad, being me, not wanting to wear a mask and everything. In their hometown, they would throw you in jail if you didn't have your mask on.
In jail?
They would throw you in jail if you didn't have your mask on. We were going to get some something to drink and stuff, wine, various liquors and stuff like that. Walked in there. I'm the only one without a mask, and cashiers are chasing me down. Sir, you have to wear your mask. And I'm like, I don't have a mask. I'll just wait outside. And everyone's looking at me like, he's trying to kill us all. Kind of look on her. I'm like, oh, come on. And then of course, my kids being my kids, they're completely brainwashed and indoctrinated. They're like, Dad, you're embarrassing us. You don't know these idiots.
Of course, you also talk about a time where if you sneezed in public, everyone looked at you like you just pulled a gun.
Yeah.
There needs to be a nice level. You know what I mean? Not too far left, not too far right. Just in the middle. Be worried, but don't to the point where you're...
Yeah, unfortunately, they made it to where it was left or right. It's the fear, and then there's the brazen, and then there's the unafraid. I'm unafraid. If it's gonna get me, it's gonna get me. There are people who took the shot and then fall out in the inoculation room because guess what? We got that stuff from testing to in your arm in 9 months. No testing, no trial. No
genetic variable templates and shit like that.
Should we be putting this in little babies? Yeah, we put it in little babies. Oh, little baby died. Oh, guess we weren't supposed to put it in little babies,
Yeah, I think usually they do a couple years testing, you know what I mean? The animal testing, even though I'm not too sure, but yeah, that was quite...
Yeah, and like you said, there's got to be a middle ground.
Yes.
There's got to be a middle ground, but
So, none of us are doctors, but...
No,
but that being said...
Disclaimer.
The panic, right? The fears, a lot of people, and then the people that were pushing too hard the opposite direction, right? The lack of common sense in some people. If you disagree with something, even if it's vehemently, we still live in a society surrounded by people, right? I understand if you don't want to take the booster shot. Cool. I care. I understand if you don't want to get vaccinated. Cool. Don't get vaccinated. Don't be out there yelling at people saying, I want things to get back to normal so I can go back to licking doorknobs. You know, I mean, that's, you know, it's...
And funny enough, you had people doing that. You had people in freaking supermarkets taking the tops off of ice cream and licking the ice cream and putting the top back on.
I will point out that I'm so glad that, not that that happened, but the resulting, now that food tampering is a felony now.
Oh, yeah, they threw that guy under the prison. That they caught... Because he put that on his Facebook page.
Yeah, I know.
And they tracked that dude down with
They started making a trend out of it, you know? And people were doing it and posting it to their TikToks. There's a bunch of people that did that, you know? And so now it's like, anybody that works in the food industry knows what I'm talking about. We don't want to fuck with food.
No.
Yeah.
But... You know, yeah, we joke, because everyone's seen that movie Waiting, where, we're going to get this Karen, you know.
Give her the special, boys.
Oh, my God. Hey, dude, you can't miss American with European. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right, brother. I'm like, oh, God, that was...
Electric garlic salt.
From that point on, I treated waitresses and waiters with the utmost respect. And I always tip north of 20%. Wow. I mean, and that was from a guy who never, ever, like, treated waitresses and waiters even remotely badly.
Yeah, no.
I was like, I don't want to give you a reason to think I treat you badly.
Yeah, as I say, you know what really kills me is the people that the customers that we deal with, they'll call in with a complaint. I'll say, no worries, I'll remake your food. No, don't worry about it. I don't want you to spit in my food. The fact that you have that mentality, one, means you know that you're an asshole.
That you're being an asshole.
Yeah. And two, that you think that other people would do that because you would probably do that, right? So, I mean, it's one of those kind of things where it says more about you than me. Just the fact that mindset is still out there now. And I'm quick to point out, I'm like, no, we wouldn't do that. That's a felony now. I ain't risking my job just to get back at somebody. I'll just remake your food.
I'm like, prison?
Right?
Over a phone call? No. Here, take this. And go on your way, happy customer.
When you leave, I'm going to talk shit. But
I'm
I'm
gonna talk about bad about you and your mama. But I mean, come over right now, here, baby, to take this and go. And I just want you to leave.
Yeah.
I don't.
Talking shit isn't a felony yet.
Yeah. We still kind of got it all right here, but pretty soon, mama joke is gonna get you. It's gonna get you locked up.
What's going in your bug out bag? What do you got stashed away right now?
My shotgun, my rifle, my bows, and my arrow. At least 64. Nobody else has this?
60, Dude looks like a Far Cry character.
64 bottles of water. The rest you can hunt for. Too much?
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's great, but I mean, I've got first aid kit. I've got rain poncho. In my 3-day bag, I've got a tent. In my grab and go bag, I do not. Because I always say, you want a 1-day bag, a 3-day bag, and then if you can, keep a week stash in your car.
Keep a week stash.
But yeah, you get a something with 100 rounds, and then you got it stashed on the side, and then like you said, you can hunt and trap if you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I definitely know what I'm doing with that stuff, but not to brag, But ladies, if you ever need a confident provider in the end of the world,
work this off in trade.
I scratch your back, you scratch mine. I don't see what's wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong. You want to eat? I want some heat. Thinking about the future here, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna have to repopulate. Jolly, what you got?
As most people are like, I want a Remington. You can't be able to use that. A bow, you know what I mean? You can use resources to restring it. You can make your own arrows if you need to. There's like the life straws. So instead of having water, you can have a bunch of life straws. And it'd be less weight than a water would be. And you can just, I've seen some puddles they drink out of. And they say, it don't taste the best, but you're not going to get no parasites. You're not going to be shitting your guts out afterwards for days on.
This dude out here making us look like idiots.
Hey.
He's right.
I mean, MREs, but that's just in case, maybe if you don't get something that night to cook, you know what I mean?
And they do sell like bulk packs of
yes,
of
they
MREs.
do.
Yeah.
Anybody wants a sponsor out there, you know? It's,
yeah.
You can get those. They got this one I seen on Amazon. It's a bucket of mac and cheese, freeze-dried mac and cheese, or dehydrated mac and cheese. You can get a bucket. It's like 144 servings of mac and cheese.
That's awesome.
And it's like $150. You can get a pretty long way off of that mac and cheese.
They don't tell you that it tastes like ass, but it's calorie loaded.
Hey, you know what? Salt, pepper, and location seasoning.
Like
and that's going in my bug out bag right there.
And that's the thing. It's calorie loaded. It will keep you going.
A lot of people don't think neither. There's a lot of resources that people don't realize that you can use. You know, you talk about Indians. You know, they had remedies, medical stuff. You know, people want to take medical stuff. There is so much stuff if you have the know-how.
If you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing, and you know how to know-how.
I'm saying that your modern Indian / Native American, they'll freaking die nowadays.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing. they're acclimated to our way of living more than they were to their ancestors. Yeah, there were a couple of Indians in California that I knew. The closest to their heritage they got was wearing moccasins.
They're comfortable, man.
Yeah, they didn't wear anything else. I mean, no war paint, no face paint. They ate fried chicken with the rest of us. They were fat like the rest of us. But, you know, I understand the native concept that you were coming from. I'm sure that all of them aren't like that. I mean, you know, Thomas Red Hawk was probably more in tune with his native upbringing. I mean, come on, man.
That's our pre-apocalypse setting. We'll go ahead and wrap it up there. We'll get back to it.
All right, time to empty out the mop bucket, run the trash, and hit the lights. Go get off my time clock, and be safe getting home.